it's my favorite time in which we are going to come up with the best synergies for the new cards that release. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. Here we have Mega Gardevoir EX looking fantastic. Fantasia Force 110 2 energy. Take 3 psychic energy from your energy zone. Attach to any psychic Pokemon any way that you like. Now I just had so much fun with thinking about this because we can connect this with Gengar. Obviously, just takes a long time to set up, but you get this stage 2 going. Now your opponent can't use any support cards, and now you're attacking for 100. Mwah, love that. Mewtwo EX feels kind of spicy as a combination for this as well. Seeing that like the side drive, you just hit twice, it's 6 energy, and then from there you're just dealing 150 every single time. I just don't know how your opponent can stop that ramp up, and since it's a basic, it's very easy to find. We also have Mew EX. I was just like, okay, one move from your Fantasia Force, your genome hacking is online, and now you can just use your opponent's attacks against them. Really just have that kind of locked and loaded in the background for you as well. And then we have kind of Dusknoir, and I understand that this is like another stage 2 in a stage 2 deck, but if you get this online, right, it's kind of like why we have Copycat. And so why we have the Pokeballs is like we can just search for these things. But Dusknoir here, this immortal Mega Gardevoir could be a thing, and then if there is an Oricorio, we just attack for 70 because the health is right there. So this could be very spicy in ensuring that your Mega Gardevoir actually just doesn't go down, which could be really fun. And then, obviously, you have the likes of Giratina. I mean, you throw that up there, the Chaotic Impact is ready to go for 130. It's a very strong, powerful mon. You can boost this up a couple of times, so that way the retreat cost really doesn't matter for you because you have 6 energy ready to go, so that's a free retreat and back in. And then, a little spice for y'all, throw in some Drifblim in here as well too. This attack does 20 more damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. It is a stage 1, it is a non-EX, but like imagine just 3 like 6 energy on here is 120, 9 energy on here is 180, is just skyrocket. At that point you're one-shotting everything. Throw a cape on this bad boy, you just might be able to live a couple of hits and going from there, which is kind of spicy. Now here we have Mega Mawile EX. Now when thinking about combos for Mega Mawile, it's actually kind of interesting because I'm like, I don't know if I want to play any other Pokemon with this card, right? This effect gets, with this attack, it gets 30 more damage and the effect stacks. So you're thinking, you know, Mega Miltank, you're getting that plus 30. So you go in 60, 90, 120, 150, like you're just building up. So the key here is like, how do you survive with just one card? And one of the reasons why you don't even run a second one is because if they Sabrina you, you start all over. So you just don't want to like have that and lose your effect here, and since it's a mega, if it gets knocked out, the game's done, so you might as well just run one. So this new tool where it's like minus 50, you discard at the end of your opponent's turn, that's great. Like you have a minus 50 stack up here. You can throw also your boy AroundThaBen. This card now might be relevant with solo Mega Mawile. That's a minus 70 damage on one turn. That just allows you just to continue to do the stack. You can separate them so that way you have it. You have your heals, of course. You have your Pokemon Center Lady, that's plus 30. Remove any special conditions as well too. But I really do like this as like one of the key supporters here, just to take away that minus 20, and getting this new tool to do a minus 50 would be really sick as well. But if I had to pick one Pokemon, if you're like, Ben, just go ahead and just pick one, it would be Aegislash, right? I have my basic Mega, it's up front, and then I am just using this Aegislash to go up and hit Rare Candy into it because I'm attacking for plus 30. So now, my initial start, regardless if they Sabrina me or anything else, goes from 60 to 90, and that's still really strong. If I have 2 of them out there, my initial attack before any stack happens will be 120, and with the fact that like I don't have to worry about like just retreating in and out, that feels pretty good. Here we have a Teal Mask Ogerpon EX, HP 130, basic mon here. Its ability, each of your Pokemon that has any energy attached removes all special conditions, can be affected by any special conditions, which is really nice because you can just throw this on the back slot and everything's fine. That's awesome. You have 2 energy, energized leave 60. If there's between 5 or more energy between you and your opponent's active Pokemon, then you can deal 60 more damage, which is great. So the name of the game is stack up energy on yours. You will need at least 4, you know, like because that's the max that you really should like aim for this kind of card, because your opponent needs at least 1 in order to attack. And for any Pokemon that doesn't use any energy to attack, you're knocking them out with just a regular 60 damage here anyways, so this doesn't really worry about it too much. So what cards like help you stack up your energy? Well, first and foremost, you have your Leafeon EX with boosted evolution. This is really nice because you can evolve into this, power yourself up, attack for the 70, and then start powering up your Ogerpon in the back, which is like pretty clean to really build up into that. This goes down, and now you're coming in with an attacker for 120. And then another mon that would like be pretty good here is our Superior. So our Superior here is like really nice in fact as well too, just because each energy that you have provides 2 energy. So just by only allowing yourself 2 energy here, especially since this is a basic, so that means you can continue to search and find your Pokemon as well, you can get to this 5 or more very quickly, right? Like you just need 2 energy, that counts as 4, your opponent has 1, you're attacking for 120. That's just really nice. And so if you're like being cheeky with it and you're including a Leafeon or you're including a Superior line, why not have a backup attacker in your Celebi? This might just be like, hey, we're friends, we like having energy, so why not have another Pokemon that can benefit off of that, especially if you're not drawing into your Ogerpon, so that way your Celebi can carry off of it since you're running through the same effect. Here we have the Mimikyu EX. Now this mon is very interesting. HP 120 basic EX mon here, but 2 energy for Claw Slash, 70 damage, but its ability is what really makes it stand out. It's Disguise. When this Pokemon is first damaged by an attack after coming into play, prevent that damage. I think the question here that we have to answer is, what does coming into play mean? Does it mean just coming out onto, when it's like placed onto the field? That could be like that makes sense to me in my head, but there's a question of whether or not it goes into the active spot. That means it's in play, because in bench you're not really attacking, right? You're attacking in the active spot, so you're coming into play. You can be attacked through standard norms like from there. So if it's the first or the latter, right, where it's being attacked, the stall fest is going to happen. And so what cards like to be stalled out? Mega Altaria EX, it's always looking for basics. It's always looking for more psychic mons to play into it. And if you have a mon that can be stall out your opponent while you're looking for your cards and still benefit off the psychic energy, Mega Altaria definitely just gets a little boost, or just at least another variation of a deck here as with it as well. Then we also kind of like our stage 2s, where like this Gengar could be a lot of fun. You're either stalling or not being able to use a supporter card, and then you can just clean up with like your 3rd mon here as well. But being able to find your piece and then be able to jump right into it works out well too. I will say the Peculiar Plaza Stadium card, which allows you to retreat, is going to be super helpful, because the retreat cost for Mimikyu is 2, and so that way it would be for free if you have that stadium card up there. And then I'm gonna say this and call me crazy, but what if you just stalled out for Hydreigon? Right, like this is a card that like we've seen time and time again can high roll into it very quickly, but what if you just don't take any attack? Then you just have Hydreigon here who is just able to. We've seen Indeedee pair off really well because of healing. Why not pair off a mon that will like literally buy you time to get your card going? So This one might be a little crazy, for sure, but I think it would be really fun to test out. Here we have Galarian Obstagoon, stage 2 mon, 150 HP. It evolves from Galarian Linoon, so just really curious as to like how that stage 1 is going to look like. It will be really cool. We have 2 energy, Merciless Strike, 70, but if your opponent's active Pokemon has damage on it, this attack does 50 more damage. So you're looking here as like a means of like, how do I set this up? Every time it's kind of like what I looked at it, like, you know, you can obviously come in after your opponent's everybody be attacking, but let's say it has full health. What can you do? Things like Darkrai just like screams out here. It's 2 energy, so that means you can start pinging with your Darkrai pretty quickly, pretty early. It's a basic, so you can also get this going as well too before you get into your Galarian Obstagoon, since you need a little bit of time of setting that up. Another great piece here is just Rocky Helmet, just getting that damage off regardless of what your opponent is trying to do or trying to attack into can really set you up for that 120 later on. And then of course, I mean, it is a card that is everywhere. It is in every like style of deck. You do have your Greninja here. It just makes the most sense being able to do that. However, what could be tricky is the fact that it is a stage 2, so it might not synergize as well as you're having to search for 2. But if anything, there's nothing really that beats out this Water Shuriken to ensure that you can have that, since you don't really need an energy in order to proc this like you do for Darkrai. Now, if we're like being okay with stage 2s, like, do we make a little bit of comeback with Crobat and some Arceus fun, right? Like, Crobat doesn't necessarily need any energy attached to it until it is ready to attack. Yes, you do need a stage 2 here to really pop this off, but we have Pokemon Communication, we have May, and it just, you know, I could have used that same thing for Greninja, but this just makes it a lot more fun since it's in the Dark Realm, and then you can pop off a little bit with having an Arceus EX to also follow out. So think about having a Galarian Obstagoon. They have to go through that, then they have to go through a Crobat, and then they have to go through an Arceus EX, right? Like, that's just so much health and that's so much damage when you can really pop off with that. And we've seen Arceus and Crobat do really well, so having another hard hitter that really only needs 2 energy can really make sense for this deck. Here we have Oricorio, a fire one. I'm getting a nice little another card for it, which is like pretty cool. 70 HP, inspiring dance 10. During your next turn, attacks used by your Pokemon do plus 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Is essentially the red of Pokemon, but you can attack any Pokemon. It's not a basic, it's not any stage, it's not an EX. You just get plus 20 damage for it. So where do we get to take advantage of this? Well, first and foremost, you do want it to be in fire type decks, since it just requires fire energy to proc, so you want that to be as consistent as possible. So now you ask yourself, what will benefit off of an extra damage here, right? You have cards like Mega Blaziken. Now you can hit for 140 going into it. Mega Blaziken is also a deck that likes basics before they go into their Mega Blaziken. We see with Heatmore, we see with Furfrou as well. So adding in this Oricorio when it's then ready to then attack, 140 base to then 160. Does well into things like your Mega Altarias to really whittle that down to force them to leave out, regardless if they're having Indeedee on their bench. Being able to really pin down their Mega Absols as well, really forcing those retreats. So that's really huge, and if you do like get an Oricorio in there, you can tackle in a Giovanni or a Red to really add in that extra damage to ensure that you can knock out some of these Pokemon in one hit. Then we also have Flareon EX as well, because I can imagine you attack with the Oricorio, retreat, combust, get the energy up, attach that energy, and then attack for 150. With a red and your EVs, like EV bags, that's 170, and then that's 190. You could take out a Mega Altaria in one swing. Like, that's pretty sweet when you think of the setups that you can do here. And then when we're talking about stacking damage, Rapidash plus 20 plus the 30 from Blaine, so now you're hitting for 90 for 1 energy. That's pretty good. And then Turtonator is also another fun call out, because Shell Trap now does 60 damage, and this do 20 damage to the attacking Pokemon. That also deals, because that extra 20 gets boosted from weakness. So like if a grass type hits you, they get dealt 40. So I'm sure this Oricorio attack here can also boost up the Shell Trap effect here as well. Here we have Phalanx making its way into the game. It is a basic HP 70. Its ability is pretty sweet, coordinated unit if you have another Phalanx in play. This Pokemon attacks do plus 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, and this Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. It does have 70 HP, so like this is you're really like facing this against other basics while you're trying to build up something up in the back. But if you're like trying to just like say, hello Phalanx, how can we make this work? Obviously another Phalanx is one of its best synergies here, so that way you can proc its ability to be able to then do 40 damage. You can then boost it up with something like Lucario as well, so now instead of doing 40, you're doing 60 while taking that minus 20 damage as well in here too. You can even add things like a rescue scarf if you just kind of wanted to like keep that around and play with it. But I see this again just kind of like it's a 1 energy card. You can attack for 40, it takes minus 20, but you just need that extra love in there by having the Phalanx. Since it's a 1 energy, you can just throw on any like 2 or 3 energy Pokemon in here to like really build that up. But let me know, I'm very interested to see what ideas that you have as well, so put that down in the comments right now. Now we have Meloetta here. It is a basic mon, 70 HP, strange singing at the beginning of your turn. If this Pokemon's in the active spot, put a random psychic Pokemon from your deck into your hand, side shot for 50. Now, this card is just going to benefit stage 2 Pokemons a lot, and then you have to ask yourself what stage 2 Pokemon are okay with having a basic going down, right? Like it is okay if that happens, because then they can lead into either another basic and then go into something even more bigger from there, right? Like you want this to be like a 1-1 kind of like 2 or 1-1-3 now that we have megas here. And one of my first instincts again goes to Mega Altaria EX here. Mega Altaria loves itself some Chinglings, so like when you were thinking of the 70 HP, is it enough, is it not enough? Like you have Chingling in this deck, you have Jirachi in this deck, right? Like these smaller basics are totally fine as just psychic basics, so Meloetta fits just fine in here. And now you're actually just pulling those cards out of your deck into then getting into your Mega Altaria EX faster, or being able to pull your Swablu top deck or your Pokeball or any of your prime supporters that you need, because you have this here. Or even if you're running this in like Mega Altaria and Greninja and you want to throw one of these on there, you can then just like grab the psychic, so that way you're more likely to get those other cards too. So this is very interesting. I kind of like this flow in here, and so if we're gonna say that, I think this could really do some fun work with your Mega Gardevoir here. Now you have a sense of being able to run the Curlia, so that way you can pull it, so that way you can run into it. Maybe we actually don't do rare candy because we have the Meloetta out there, and then that can just draw your cards, thin out your deck, and really get into something else that you need. So that goes down. Mega Gardevoir EX is out there hitting for 110. Then you power up something like a Mewtwo EX to then finish things off with 150 damage. Like, this ability to search and being in the front spot is going to do well, and so you just need to make sure that you just hit hard once you get that, and then your payoffs are really great. Here we have Mega Medicham EX that's going to be coming in a promo set that we are finally really excited about in terms of an EX here. Why? Because of this effect with its move. So Chakra Fist, 3 energy, 1 fighting, 2 colorless. If this Pokemon has any psychic energy attached, this attack does 40 more damage. This attack's damage isn't affected by any effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. So what does this mean? It means bye over Choreo. This EX absolutely ignores that ability safeguard, so you are free to attack and knock out that Choreo right away. So that is actually a huge bonus here for fighting decks to like be able to add that in there and not have to worry about that at all. So that's really nice here. Looking forward to seeing just kind of like where the retreat cost is. It does have a lot of energy needing to attack and another requirement to boost up that 40 damage. So hopefully the retreat isn't anything crazy. If you're having a hard time, or you're just kind of like, hey, I'm just going to disregard that 40 damage, but still kind of want to boost it up even a little bit more, obviously we enter in Lucario here, get that plus 20. attacking for 120 is still pretty good. There's nothing really to worry about from there. You know, like you definitely want like possibly the 160 with the Lucario, and so here you kind of have Giratina. Giratina is able to generate its own while you're building up your Medicham anyways. You might as well be building up your Giratina as well too, and then having that Dawn, right? There isn't an item like Elemental Switch which does fire, water, and lightning, so you're going to want to use Dawn to be able to get that psychic energy, so that way you can continue to keep the fighting, so that way you can then, you know, attack with your Lucario or any other fighting mods that you have on there. So having Giratina as your battery at any point in time to be able to attack and do that is going to serve you wonders. And now last but not least, we now have a Cinderace here. Cinderace evolves from her boots. This is our first instance of having Cinderace, so I'm curious if we'll like get like this just like normal card instead of just it being a promo in the release, but we'll see. So Cinderace, Fireball Shot 120 during your opponent during this next turn. This Pokemon can attack. We're hoping that the retreat cost is like 1. Leafeon kind of does this, but it does it for like 90, so maybe it might be 2 just because the damage is there. However, this is a stage 2, so maybe we keep the retreat cost at 1. There's a lot of things that you can do here that will make this pop, so that way you can continuously attack for the 120. One of those things is having Magby or Baby, right? Like you attach the energy, you can retreat, get into it, and you go there. One of the things that we like about Magby and comboing that up is that you have your Lyra. You treat this as like a, hey, Cinderace has damage to it, we put the Magby up, then the Magby retreats for free, and then we can start attacking again for the 120. So since we have a free retreat, you don't have to worry about spending the fire energy on that, and can put the fire energy on anywhere else. Lyra here absolutely helps us be able to crush that with the Magby and this combination. Another thing that you can do if you just need to retreat and just get right back into it is any of our fossils, right? So you get to the fossil is literally only played to be discarded, and when you discard, you don't lose any points at all. So the name of the game, Cinderace attacks, you can't use it your next turn. It's here, they hit you, you retreat, you put the fossil up, you discard it, and now your active spot is empty, so then you can put the Cinderace again, it resets that condition that you have, and now you're able to attack for that 120. So this is a good little fossil tech that can come back for that, because 120 for 2 energy on a non-EX Mon is really great here. So you want to maximize the amount of turns that you can do this in a row to really finish off your opponent quickly and not let them have an answer for you. And there y'all have it. The Pokemon are coming. It is the favorite time where we get to just talk through and just think about all of the different pieces that we can have here. So let me know, what do you all think of the cards, and what would you add into the combos? I would love to talk through that and have a discussion with you down below. As always, if you enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, click that notification bell button so that you do not miss out on a thing. Catch you on the next one. Peace.